everyone. Welcome to another episode of JD's Wildcat World. It's been a minute. The Cats are 7 and 0 with a big week ahead, and I couldn't be more proud of these guys. We're going to shortly recap a couple games that I have just been going and going and going and haven't had time to sit down and record an episode, but I'm here now. So I'm very ready to look back on what is still an undefeated season up to this point. It's the Monday night before the Clemson game, and the Cats have two tough tests coming up, but they are 7 and 0 now, officially ranked fourth in the country, which is just amazing. It only took Mark Pope a month to get the Cats back to where they're supposed to be in the top five, and I couldn't be more proud of Coach Pope and his staff and BBN in general for just continuing to show up, give this team massive crowds, no matter the opponent. This thing is rolling. Let's keep it rolling for sure. I'm super excited to see what this team can do. This is or was supposed to be Coach Pope's worst team, dare I say, and we're sitting at 7 and 0 for the first time since 2016-2017 season, and things are going very, very well. I think the first game that I didn't recap or preview was Jackson State for obvious reasons. I think Jackson State is definitely going to be the worst team that we play this season. It was part of the BBN Invitational, which was a Cal thing, and the Cats won by 50. I mean, there's nothing you can really take away from that game. I feel like it was similar to an exhibition. Just take care of business and move on. They absolutely dominated them by a score of 108 to 59. And then the next two, Western Kentucky and Georgia State, we saw for the first time the Cats be a little sloppy, especially against Western in that first half. They go on to win by 19 points, 87 to 68. But that first half was a little worrisome. Western played pretty well. I don't even know if it was that Western played well. It was just we couldn't do anything. I don't know if it was a lack of effort or just weren't hitting shots, but it got very grinded out, very muck it up game, and we won like that too. So Coach Pope said after the Western game he was glad that it went like that to see how the guys would respond because they hadn't really had a game like that so far. And they responded by winning by almost 20, even not playing their best. So I think that shows where this team is for sure. Georgia State, another example of sloppiness in the second half. Georgia State cut it to, I think, six. I think it was like 59 to 53. The goober for Georgia State gets a technical foul, and I thought he was ejected, but apparently he wasn't because he came back in the game later. That was the biggest takeaway from that game was a almost fight. Coach Pope comes out onto the court holding back our players and does a good job of separating everyone. But that guy, I don't even pay attention to his name that much because it's not really worth. I think it was Clash Peters, maybe just a weird name. I'll have to look it up, but he was throwing cheap shots all game long. And I mean, I don't know what the refs expect when you let a guy absolutely tackle Andrew Carr as the buzzer sounds going into halftime. What's going to happen after that? There was no call. Pope was very frustrated. There was no call there, as was I, as was all of BBN, I'm pretty sure. But you let him tackle a guy, and then you come back out in the second half and expect anything to be any different. It was just a wild circumstance. But the Cats win 105 to 76, almost by 30. And now they're sitting at 7 and 0, ranked fourth in the country after a crazy week of college basketball. UConn lost 3 times, Houston lost I think twice. Oregon up to number 12, that with them winning their tournament, it was the Players Era tournament. They beat Alabama. I mean, you've got teams losing left and right. Auburn looks very strong in the SEC. Tennessee looks very strong in the SEC. The conference is wide open, and we're getting closer and closer to conference season. But before I look that far, we get into this extremely tough week of Kentucky basketball. At Clemson, and at Gonzaga, two of the toughest games you could have back to back. The ACC SEC Challenge, I love this event. Last year we played at home against Miami. We destroyed them. I was at that game. That was when we thought that Reed and Rob were going to carry that team to a Final Four. That's how we came out of that game. Just super pumped. And we saw what that team could have been if they would have played that way the whole season. It's a sad thought looking back on it, but that game and that moment was super fun, man. That was one of the most fun games I've ever been to. Rupp was rocking from the tip. I thought the Cats just came out and absolutely destroyed Miami, and Miami turned out to not be very good, but still, at that point, I think they were ranked and ranked pretty high. Let's see if we can have a similar impact here, but let's hope that this team goes farther in the postseason than that one did. But if you go out and let's just think scenarios here. As of right now, I know it's early. I know we're 7 games into the season, but it's never too early to talk about bracketology. Right now, you're projected a 2 seed in the NCAA tournament. Imagine if you go get 2 quad 1 wins on the road at Clemson and at Gonzaga, and you're 9-0. You're potentially number 1 in the country, in my opinion. I mean, that's not a joke. That's legit. I think if you win both of these games and you are 9-0, you have a valid argument to be the number 1 team in the country. Now, other teams would probably have to lose. Auburn, Tennessee, Kansas is who is in front of you. I would love to see a team with better wins than Duke on a neutral floor, at Clemson, and at Gonzaga. I don't think you're going to find that on a resume anywhere, especially this early in the season. So, no doubt in my mind, if we were, I want to preface all what I'm about to say by saying if we were to go 2-0 in these games, I think you're sitting at number 1 in the nation come a week from today on Monday. But this fan base is excited now. If you were to go 2-0 in this tough stretch, man, I think BBN would fly off the handle. I know I would. I mean, I'm already excited, but I start dreaming really, really big. And it's not just like fake dreams. It's legit like, hey, we belong. I think we're already there. I thought we were there before the season even tipped. But I think the national media will be like, okay, we can't mention a Final Four prediction without putting these guys in. If you go win at Gonzaga and at Clemson. So we'll see what happens. I'm always down for a really good road game. I'm honestly just excited to see how these guys respond to the road. Being an older team, all these guys have been in tough environments, but they haven't been in a tough environment with Kentucky across their chest. So, how are they going to respond with rowdy crowds, sold out buildings? We will see. Speaking of tough schedule things, quad 1, stuff like that, according to ESPN, Kentucky has the hardest remaining schedule in the nation. I saw that. That's crazy. I mean, I went through. They had them labeled Quad 1, Quad 2, Quad 3, Quad 4. And for the people who don't know, Quad 1 wins are your best wins that go toward your NCAA tournament resume. Quad 2, your second best, so on and so forth. And the amount of Quad 1 games Kentucky has on their schedule is just insane. Any SEC road game besides maybe one was on there as a Quad 1 or a Quad 2. The SEC is extremely deep this year, extremely talented, and Auburn and Tennessee both are going to be extremely hard games. So I'm very excited to get into conference season as well, but take it one game at a time. I thought seeing that from ESPN was pretty crazy. I'm kind of glad for these cupcakes now, honestly, because of how hard our remaining schedule is. The net rankings came out, which is an evaluating tool the NCAA tournament bracket committee uses to grade teams, see where they go. It's like based on your body of work. Kentucky was ranked 8th in the net rankings, and those will continue to go on as the season progresses. Every metric we're in that I see, we are looking very good. So just keep winning. That's basically all there is to it. Keep scoring the way you're scoring, and you aren't going to have many things to worry about for sure. I'm pretty sure that the Cats still lead the nation in scoring per game, and they're going to get to put it to the test against Clemson. Clemson comes in to tomorrow night's game 7-1. arguably should be ranked, in my opinion, especially with a big matchup on prime time ESPN. Their only loss, let's see, let's look at their schedule here. To Boise State by 13 on the road. They've beat Penn State neutral site, and it's really about it as far as resume type building wins. They beat San Francisco on a neutral site, but they haven't played anybody, to be honest with you. So maybe they do not deserve to be ranked. Take back what I said. I thought their schedule was a little bit tougher than it was. Anytime I see 7-1, I think a team that could definitely be ranked, but obviously there's a reason they're not ranked. That's because they haven't played anybody. Boise State on the road was definitely their toughest game. They got blew out. So, the Cats in their first road game, there's no doubt in my mind we're the better team. But you're going on the road in college basketball, so that doesn't always translate over. Clemson is led by Chase Hunter, who is a guy that I think he was there last year. He's averaging 16 points a game, 3 boards, 3 assists. Their big guy they had last year, I think, graduated. I'm trying to think of his name. But they went on a little tourney run last year. They're building their program. Pretty sure Brad Brunell is still their coach. That sounds right. He's a very solid coach. But the main guy I look for is Chase Hunter. I think he's the guy you have to shut down. There's no doubt in my mind Coach Pope will have a game plan to have other guys beat you. And, at the beginning of the year, I said the Cats lose one of Clemson and Gonzaga. There's really, I just expect us to lose one because of what we've dealt with in the previous years. But there's no data out there until we lose to show me that we're losing. It will be a ruckus environment, but am I scared that we're going to lose tomorrow night? Absolutely not. And that's a strange place to be because the last several years, you go on the road in a tough environment, especially for the first time, and you're thinking it's probably a loss. I'm not there. And that's crazy for me to say. You all can pull this up, freezing cold takes tomorrow if we get blew out or get beat. But I'm just at the point where if we lose one of these games, I think it's going to be Gonzaga. And I'm not even sure that they are more talented than we are. They took a bad loss last week, I'm pretty sure. There's no reason for me to think we're going to lose till we do. So I'm going with the Cats to win this game. It will be a hostile environment. I'm sure they will hit some insane shots. But if we stick to Pope's game plan, listen. I'm going to say right now, I think he's the best scouting coach in America, and that might be a hot take for some people. I didn't realize until he got here how good at scouting the other team Coach Pope and his staff are. They've taken away all solid players that we have played. You could argue Cooper Flagg. I don't think anybody could prepare for Cooper Flagg, but I will say he called that last play when Cooper Flagg spun. He knew exactly what he was going to do. I think that Coach Pope is the best scouting coach in America. There's rumors that I've heard that he has gave the players like full on papers every practice before, like coming up to the next opponent, on a full on scouting report. Hey, this guy does this. This guy likes to go to the basket. This guy likes to pull up. This guy does nothing but shoot threes. This guy does nothing but shoot twos. Those are just very vague examples. I'm sure Coach Pope's are a paragraph long for each player. But I'm going to go on record in saying I think Coach Pope scouts better than any other coach in America. And I think we're seeing that. I think that helps the team because if you have a coaching staff that does that for you, and all you have to do is read it and go out there and stick to it, you know what you're doing, and it makes it easier to play the game, makes the flow of the game go faster and easier. So I just wanted to get that point out there. I'm sure a lot of you all already know that, but I truly believe that Mark Pope is one of the best scouting coaches in America, and actually the best. I said the best, I mean it. And it's weird to think, and I hate to compare everything to the last coach that was here, but you look at Arkansas and they played Illinois on Thanksgiving Day, and it was like I was watching a Kentucky team the last 5 years. Illinois went zone. Arkansas freaks out, once again, does not know what to do with the ball. They can't guard anybody. They do not adjust to guard the player that is eating them alive. It's just the same stuff over and over. And I am so thankful that us as a fan base, BBN, and the Kentucky administration, and everyone to do with UK, I'm so glad we have a fresh voice, a fresh face, a fresh coach that will coach the games, that will put players in the right places to succeed and not just let them go out there and fall on their face or not adjust to what the other team is doing. It's so awesome to see a coach that will adjust to the game, adjust to the team that we're playing against, and adjust to our guys. If shots aren't going down, tweak the offense to get some easy layups. That's happened many times in these last couple games. This is basically like a Mark Pope tribute, but I'm so thankful for him, and I'm thankful for the coaching staff as well. We could go out, we could lose both games this week. It's not going to change my opinion on where this program is headed and where this team is headed. It would be very normal for any team to lose two tough road games in a week. I'm not going to come back and freak out if that were to happen. But I will say I probably will overreact if we win both. If we come back 9-0 next week, number one in the country, I'm ready to run through a brick wall. I mean, I'm ready. I'm already ready to run through a brick wall. What would I be ready to run through then? Let's think about it for a second. About 5 brick walls. There we go. If we go or we're 9-0 sitting here next week, I need some brick walls built and see if I can run through them because I will be super pumped and excited, as will all Big Blue Nation. So it starts tomorrow night, though. I think you got to shut down Chase Hunter. I think Kobe Bray is going to have to knock down some open shots, which shouldn't be a problem. I think Jackson Robinson is going to have to, dare I say, be more of a team player. I don't think he's selfish, but he's sometimes taking bad shots. Let's run the offense. Amari, let's not turn it over so much, it was better last game. But there's things we can all go through and tweak about each player, but I think we just play Kentucky basketball. And that's really it. I mean, that's all it comes down to. We follow the scouting report, we run a Mark Pope's offense, and we come home with a win. And in my opinion, I see nothing to suggest otherwise. I hope I'm right back here tomorrow night late again, recapping a win. Score predictions. Do we put up 90 on the road at Clemson? Man, that would be pretty wild. I don't think we get there. I think we win, but I don't think we score 90. I think it's like 3-74. Something like that. 9-point win. Or we pull away late. I think it's close throughout the game and we pull away late. But no result's going to shock me. It ain't going to shock me if we beat them by 20. It ain't going to shock me if we go down there and get beat. Both things would be totally normal to me. I mean, it's way too early in the college basketball season to know what to expect, in my opinion. But I do know one thing: we have a very good basketball team that we're watching as Big Blue Nation. So let's beat Clemson. I love this matchup. I think it's so cool to play schools that we never play, especially on the road. That's why I was going back to saying I like the ACC SEC challenge. I think it's awesome. I hope we keep playing these teams. I would love a matchup with Syracuse at Rupp or NC State at NC State. Or I've saw us play Wake Forest before, but let's play them. I mean, just different people. Virginia, I mean, it would be a heck of a clash of style. Virginia scoring like 50 a game and Kentucky scoring 100 a game. Who would prevail? I mean, that would be an interesting story. Just random matchups that we haven't got to see in person in a very long time. I'm ready for that to come back. You know, these MTEs, if you call them, the Maui, the Players Era Tourney. Watching all those tournaments on Thanksgiving week made me sad that we weren't in it. I mean, granted, we are the BBN Invitational champions after we beat Western, Jackson State, and Lipscomb. I mean, we are the BBN Invitational champions. So hold your applause. Hold your applause for that. I know that's a big deal. But I miss going to Maui. I mean, the Players Era tourney would be awesome for us to be in. Could you imagine us versus Oregon the day after Thanksgiving in the championship? Man, that would have been so awesome. But I think Coach Pope, the second he can, we will be back in those tournaments. I think Maui's definitely a place he would want to go and take Kentucky back to. So I love that about Coach Pope as well. Him wanting to schedule tougher games, getting in these MTEs. I think all of which are on the table. So as soon as he can, I don't know how the contracts work behind the scenes. I'm not sure if he'll be able to get us in those tournaments next year or it'll be the year after, but I promise he's working towards that. So that's something to look forward to also as Kentucky fans for years to come. But we are in the here and now, and the here and now takes us to Clemson, South Carolina, where I think the Cats get the win 83-74. My MVP, give me Kobe Brea. I think he's going to have a big game. I think he's going to knock down several threes and win the game for us. So I like Kobe Brea as my MVP. And there's nothing else really much to say. I wanted to do a quick little recap. Everybody knows the Cats are undefeated, 7-0. Didn't want to go back and repeat old news, but hopefully I'm back here for a repeat night tomorrow night, recapping a win against Clemson. And we'll see you then. This has been JD's Wildcat World. We're available on every single place that you get your podcast. Apple Music, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, YouTube, you name it. We are there. Thank you all for checking in with me. Thank you all for listening. I love each and every one of you all. Thank you for keeping this thing rolling as I've missed a couple games recapping. You all are still listening to the old ones, and I cannot tell you how much I appreciate that. I hope you all enjoyed this episode. And if you have any questions, you all let me know. If you all want to talk about anything that I've mentioned on the podcast, you also let me know. I can't tell you all how much I appreciate you. Go Cats and beat Clemson. Let's get to 8-0.